Hi there, welcome back to Stillwater's ASMR. Today's video we are going through my recipes. So years and years and years ago I got this recipe book from Paper Chase. It's sort of like I guess it can be like an A5 size paper folder. So it would fit A5 paper inside. The folder is bigger than A5 because it extends out around the page. And on the front it's got recipe book and these cute little patterns in a really pretty colour. I do love like teal turquoise type colours. I've got turquoise in my office, I've got a teal in the kitchen. It is one of my favourite colours, kind of bluey green. And on the edge it just says recipe book, and then at the back, so I got this from Paper Chase, which is a UK store that sells like paper crafting type stuff. They have stationery items, craft items, cards, gifts, that sort of thing. And it's a store that's very easy to spend a lot of money in. But anyway, I got this easily probably about 10 years ago. It was when I was living in central London. There was a Paper Chase store in the train station that I had to go through every day, because I live right next to Paddington train station in central London. And yep, Paddington Bear is named after Paddington train station. And I used to catch the train out to Reading where I worked every day, and I'd have to go past this Paper Chase shop, and there's a few purchases I made there over the years, but this is one. I had filled it up with recipes, some of which I liked, some of which I didn't actually like anymore. I hit a point where I was wanting to trade this in for a new recipe book and kind of like start afresh. I was wanting to get an A4 size one, so it would be like this sort of size. I can't actually fit it on the screen. Well, this is an A4 piece of paper. Here. I wanted to get a folder that would fit A4 sizes of paper, because on the small A5 I found that there was recipes that would go over 2 pages. And I wanted to be able to have one recipe per page rather than having it going over 2 pages. And so I wanted to get an A4 size recipe binder. So this basically has got, I've taken all the paper out of it and you'll see what I've done. So it's got a starter section with a nice cute divider. It's labelled. It's got a pouch at the back. It's got like a plastic pouch in each section, and then you've got fish with a pouch, meat with a pouch, vegetables with a pouch, baking with a pouch, desserts with a pouch, and then there's this pouch at the very back that's got a because these pouches are just those ones you just slot things in at the top. This pouch has got a like sealed in the side, and then we've got like a page protector thing of plastic which you could like put over your page to stop splatter, I guess. And then there's papers that went in each section. Now I was basically looking for an A4 size, so a bigger version of this that has the different dividers, the nice paper, that was pretty, that was nice, but I could not find one anywhere. I tried to explain my problem to like my husband and my dad, and they were the worst people to try and explain it to, because their solution, which was a very like valid solution, was just make your own. Buy an A4 folder, buy some dividers and just make it yourself. But I wanted something pretty where every time I picked it up, it would be functional, but also like joy inducing. You know, it would give me that spark, that it would spark joy, like what Con Marie talks about. I wanted something that every time I picked it up to use it would make me feel good, like this does, but just a bigger version of this. And I couldn't find it anywhere. I was looking online, because I can't really shop in person at the moment because of COVID lockdown, and also I live on a small island that doesn't have many shops. So I was really struggling to think where I could find one, and I was looking online, and I just couldn't find anything that was what I was after. And that can be a real problem when you have a really clear idea of what you want. Sometimes that's the worst, because then you cannot find it for love nor money. It's like one time I had to buy a plain white shirt for work that buttoned up to the neck so I could wear a tie with it. Oh my goodness, you wouldn't think that was so difficult. But that's a different story for another day. So, because I couldn't find what I wanted, and I didn't want to make my own because it wouldn't look like what I wanted it to look like, and it would just bug me every time I used it, I thought, you know what? I like this. Yes, it's too small. And yes, it got cluttered with recipes I didn't like anymore and things I wasn't happy with anymore. I thought, you know what? I have enough pages for this. Let's just start again. So what I've done, I have pulled everything out of it, and we are going to go through it, and we are going to write out the recipes again that I'm going to keep neatly, and they're going to go in here, and we're going to discard a bunch of recipes I'm not going to make again, and we're going to try and be tough and realistic. So let's go. Oh, yawning, sorry. And this is one of those plastic pockets that I got. I think I used to have maths in this when I was in high school. You'd have like your textbook and your jotter and any like worksheets, and then you'd have like a whole backpack full of these plastic, and they make great sounds. Cause it's like a thick plastic. I don't know how well that's picking up on the microphone. I'm still filming on my coffee table because my office is still an absolute bomb site. So, we will get to that eventually. So I'm just going to put that down on the floor. There's a couple of things in here I am just going to try and find and remove. If I can find them. Right. So, we could also get out the... No, I also get Tipex out, but I don't have it handy. So here is a clipping from a magazine about how to make hollandaise sauce for Eggs Benedict. My ex-husband liked Eggs Benedict. I never made it for him. I intended to. I never did. I'm not going to make it. This is a quick chicken curry. We've got onion, small red chilli, garlic, ginger, madras curry paste, chicken, frozen peas and Campbell's condensed lentil soup and coriander. Chicken lentil soup with some spices and stuff. That does actually sound quite good. I will hang on to that because, you know, that sounds like it could be quite a tasty recipe. This is instructions I wrote myself for Christmas years and years and years and years and years ago. I do this every time I do a big roast. I write this out again, so I'm going to throw that away because it depends on what I'm cooking. because I slightly mix it up each time I cook. 1 second. So something I did previously with this recipe book. So these are the pages that came with the recipe book. They've got the little heading at the top box, and then it's like a turquoise colour ink, and then lines with the 3 punch holes down the side. So something I did on back when I sort of first started using this recipe book is at the start of each section I had a page like this where I sort of indexed recipes that were in other cookbooks. My thinking behind it was that I could flick through this book and it would have all of the recipes either listed on these pages or actually written out in full in this book. So if I wanted inspiration, I only had to look through this one book. I didn't have to go through all the rest of my cookbooks. However, I'm not going to do that anymore. I mean, there's a couple books I've gotten rid of, so it doesn't apply anymore. And I just thought, you know what? I know which cookbooks different recipes are in. I can look at the index in that cookbook rather than coming here first. So I've decided I'm going to get rid of these pages from this recipe book and just have recipes written out. Oh, baby's stirring. I can maybe get away with this. And so just to have recipes written out in here, I'm not going to do this index thing anymore. So that is going to be got rid of. Okay, baby woke up there and I had to go and settle her back down again. Okay, so to pick up where I left off, this lentil soup recipe, it is not very good. There are better lentil soup recipes in the world. Cajun chicken Caesar salad. So this is something from back when I had a George Foreman grill. It's basically just chicken with Cajun seasoning, served with lettuce, salad dressing and Parmesan cheese. It's really, like, I probably wouldn't make that again because it's really quite uninspiring. Or if I did, I wouldn't need a recipe for it. This, I'm pretty sure I can get a better barbecue, like pulled chicken barbecue recipe. This was back when I used to be using the Spark People, like, dieting, health, fitness website. And I mean, it's boiled chicken. I'm sure I could probably get a recipe to use in my slow cooker. So we are going to get rid of that. So here's another one of these fish, like these are the index for the fish, meat and vegetable sections. So we're going to get rid of all of those. This is something from a recipe book, aubergine, tomato and lentil curry. Now I don't actually really like aubergine, so I'm not going to keep that. On the back of it is a chickpea salad, and it's basically just like chickpeas, red onion and tomatoes with parsley and olive oil tossed together. That sounds actually like a quick... Oh. Okay, I think this might be an interrupted video where I keep having to get up and down. Baby's tired and needs to nap, but keeps waking herself up. So yeah, this is like a nice, quick and easy like side. But I'm kind of at a place in my life now where I'm more about like a whole meal. So for example, cooking like a big soup or a big casserole or something where the sides are pretty straightforward. There's not a lot of things where I would have this. But what I might do is I might keep a hold of it as a maybe useful. Perhaps. Here's the baking one. Again, I know that most of my baking recipes are from Better Homes and Gardens. If I want to make something, I go to Better Homes and Gardens. So I don't really need to have that on there because I'll just go to the index. This is again back when I had my George Foreman grill. This is not long after I graduated from university. I had a George Foreman grill and I would make a few basic recipes. And this was basically just grilled fish with a white sauce. Nowadays, if we have fish, it's usually my husband who cooks it. And I think what I'd be more likely to do would be to write down the like white sauce recipe. So just have it as like a sauce. And what's on the back? Smoked salmon and salad. So again, I don't need this written down. This is basically just saying you get some smoked salad, you put it with some. The reason, so what I did in this recipe book previously is I kind of had everything possible that I might do as like the idea behind it being, as I flicked through the recipe book, it would prompt me to think of ideas. So for example, having some smoked salmon with salad, that doesn't need to be a recipe in a recipe book because that's just obvious. I had it in here because it was to prompt me that it was an idea of something to eat, because I sometimes fall into ruts of eating the same thing over and over again. But I don't need this in a recipe book. Nowadays I can, So we are going to do white sauce. I'm going to put a little note to myself at the top of this. White sauce. So I know what it is from that I'm taking away. Here we've got Mediterranean baked fish. We've got onion, a can of chopped tomatoes, a bay leaf and garlic. We've got apple juice, lemon juice and orange juice, so different fruit juices. We've got some seasoning, and then we've got some spinach and some fish, and we saute the onions, put the rest in, and then we put the fish and the spinach in a baking dish, cover with the sauce and cook for 15 minutes. You know what, that's a possible, because that as well, I could always add in more. Because I think this would actually be nicer with like courgette and maybe other things added as well. And here we've got garlic stroke lemon grilled salmon. So we've got salmon, basil, garlic, lemon. And it's basically just grill the fish and putting that on it. I don't think I need a recipe for that. I don't think. I mean, straight up, I wouldn't be doing it on the George Foreman grill. So I'd be cooking it either on a griddle pan or grilling it in the oven, and there's no instructions on how to do that. and I'm really bad about needing instructions. Again, typically when we have fish, my husband now cooks it. But I'm kind of tempted with these to keep a hold of. Chickpea curry. We have onion, curry powder, chopped tomatoes, chickpeas, and natural yogurt. I've had really nice like lentil dal before. This only serves 2 people. I think I'd rather get a recipe for like a really good like chickpea lentil dal type recipe. So I think I can get a better version of that. Tomato pasta, again, I do not need this. This is what I lived on when I was a student. I don't need a recipe for that. It's basically the tomato sauce I use for bolognese with pasta, rather than like with beef mince. I don't need that. What's this? Sticky chicken with tomatoes and avocado. Chicken, soy sauce, honey, rapeseed oil, avocado, plain yogurt, wraps, cherry tomatoes, bag of mixed leaf. This actually sounds quite nice. Soy and honey. That sounds like quite a nice like lunch. I will keep a hold of that. Cheats raspberry ice cream. It's frozen raspberries, sugar and double cream, and you basically just mix it up. I will keep a hold of that because that could be quite a good recipe. Now this is a Shetland bannock recipe. Oh, it's quite different from the bannock recipe that I have. So the bannock recipe I have is, so bannocks are a Shetland version of like the scone or the American biscuit. It's like a small bread item. Sorry, 1 second. Sorry, I was getting quite hoarse there. Yeah, so it's bannocks are, yeah, it's a Shetland version of either like the English scone or the American biscuit. The recipe I have uses self-raising flour, baking soda, salt, milk and buttermilk, and that is it. This one has got like a butter margarine type. Stork is like a margarine type thing. It's got sugar in it. Mines don't have sugar. It's got your buttermilk. It's got an egg and natural yogurt, so that's quite different. So this could be quite interesting. And with my one, you literally just bung it all in a bowl and mix it. So this one, you're adding the flour and the butter and getting it crummy, and the sugar, buttermilk, egg, and enough natural yogurt to make a sticky dough. Kneading it out. A baking tray and then baking it in the oven. I cook mine on basically in a frying pan on top of the hob. You get top bannocks and oven bannocks. I'm going to keep this because I will give this recipe a try. Yeah, I'll give this recipe. In fact, I might even be able to. I just recently got some buttermilk. We've got eggs. We've got plain natural yogurt that needs using up. I might actually attempt this recipe later today or something. Because I think we've got everything. So Vaux Bakery. And Vaux is a place in Shetland that has its own bakery. And you can buy flour from them. It's the flour that they use in all of their their baking. And so a lot of people swear by faux flour, like the flour from Faux Bakery. This is a little, I used to get the Good Housekeeping magazine back when I was in my 20s, which is hilarious because I think it's really geared for people much older. This was from December 2011. That was the year I got married the first time. I am gonna keep a hold of this and flip through it and see if there's anything interesting. That shouldn't even be in there. That is to do with something else entirely. That's a to-do list for something else. This is a mini quiches recipe that we made at school. I have not made it once since I left school. So in the interest of decluttering, looking at the have I used it in the last year, does it spark joy, that kind of thing, those kind of criteria, I have not used this since I made it at school. I kept it because I'm a hoarder in some things. Right, so this is my mum's minestrone soup. So this I am definitely keeping because your parents' cooking is always the best. I made this just the other day. I've got several batches of it in the freezer, which I'm delighted about. Your parents' cooking, like the recipes you grew up with, are just the best. And this is my mum's minestrone soup recipe. It is wonderful. I really like this. This is being kept, and I'm going to write it. I'm going to rewrite it because there's like bits where it's not very neat and tidy. This page can probably, as long as I can keep everything on this page as is, I could probably just put this page straight in, although it is a bit dirty. There we go. So that's being kept. There's nothing on the back, so that's being kept. Definitely. This is a courgette bake. I was going to give that a try actually. It's basically courgette, spring onions and garlic and tomatoes with cheese grated over the top in the oven. I'm sure I've made this before and I'm pretty sure it was actually quite good. This is spicy chickpeas with tomato. This is almost like another version of the chickpea curry. And I think we're going to get rid of that. So this is a random, well, I'd say it's a recipe. It's a post-it note with, I don't know which Kevin's Oat Bickies. I don't know which Kevin this is. This is another Shetland recipe. It's marge, self-raising flour, porridge oats, sugar. Mix it and stick it in the oven. At gas mark 3 for 20 minutes. I'll need to figure out what gas mark 3 is in terms of. So these are like Shetland recipes, which I'm going to keep a hold of. So this is sausage and tomato quiche. This is from my best friend because I recognise her handwriting. It's a quiche for Eleanor. Plain flour, butter and water, grease tin. And then we have egg, sausages, sliced tomato, grated cheese, and some basil. Thing is, my husband doesn't like quiche. So the chances of me ever actually making a quiche like this, I'll put it in a maybe pile. This is from my former mother-in-law. She sadly passed away. This is her toad in the hole recipe. So toad in the hole is sausages basically cooked in a Yorkshire pudding. Now the word pudding is throws you off if you don't know what a Yorkshire pudding is, because it's not actually a pudding item, it's like a bread type item you have typically with like a roast dinner with like meat gravy and vegetables and things. Toad in the holes are amazing. So this is her toad in the hole recipe. This is another friend of mine's. She was a bridesmaid at my second wedding. Toad in the hole recipe. I'm going to keep these because what I'm going to do is I'm going to try them both out and then see how they go and see which one I prefer. So turkey pizza pie. Now this is a recipe I learned in America. Unfortunately, I can't properly replicate it here in the UK because it's supposed to use crescent. Those like packets of dough for crescent rolls. And you can't get that here in the UK. That's like an American thing. And so it's basically meant to be those crescent roll dough with like a turkey mince with spaghetti sauce and cheddar and mozzarella cheese, and then another layer of this crescent roll on top. And I had it in America visiting friends. It's a simple recipe and it's so good. But we don't have crescent rolls here. But I did do it using puff pastry, which isn't as good, but it does still work. So we're keeping this recipe. I'll actually need to make it sometime. So here I have a recipe for enchiladas. I'm probably mispronouncing that. The thing is, I just buy the Old El Paso kits. I add, that's a cat that's making its presence known. I don't even make it like this anymore because I add chicken, I add cheese, I add courgettes, and the last time I made it I also added mushrooms. So this recipe doesn't need to be in a cookbook. It's something I make regularly already. I don't need it in a cookbook. This one I will keep though. Italian chicken. It's basically just chicken with some peppers, onion, tomatoes, herbs, garlic. Yeah, we'll keep that. That sounds tasty. That sounds like something I'd eat. Have that with some pasta. I mean, I tend to actually use a lot of jars of pasta sauce, and I would often do like pasta with a jar of sauce and some chicken. This would basically mean making my own sauce rather than buying a jar of sauce. So yes, I should probably do more of that. Irish stew. Got lamb, onion, carrots, potatoes. It only serves 2 people. There's no way I'm going to be doing a recipe that serves 2 people. Also, we don't use lamb, we use mutton. So I have stew recipes in cookbooks. I don't need that one. This one here is a very simple chili recipe that my mum makes for when she's making either taco salad or our family's version of burritos. It's simple. It's got beef mince, an onion, red kidney beans, some tomato puree, some mild chili powder. So it's a very mild chili because I can't handle spice. Some salt and a little bit of water. You then, if you're having it as taco salad, we'd have it with cheese grated on top, some lettuce and tomato, and like corn tortilla chips. If we were having it as burritos, we'd have it the exact same, except instead of having it with corn tortilla chips, we'd have it with flour tortilla shells, like wraps. So our burritos, I think, more actual authentic burritos would have like rice and things inside. We don't do them like that. Definitely keeping this. This is one of the first recipes I learned as a child. Fajitas. I do not need a recipe for fajitas. Because again, I don't even make it like this anymore because I tend to use several peppers, and I make it stretch to more people. And I don't need the instructions for that. Again, I don't tend to use Old El Paso kits for this because we find that the tortilla shells or wraps, whatever you want to call them, that come in their kits are really small. So we tend to buy, I've got a cat here wanting attention, we tend to buy like just flour wraps from the grocery store, and I'll buy the Old El Paso, just the fajita seasoning, and then we just buy everything else separate. But I don't need that in my book because again, we make it all the time. This is my mother's spaghetti bolognese sauce. Some people have mushrooms in, some people have red wine. This is my mum's recipe. This is what I grew up with. It was my favourite meal as a child. Every birthday, this is what I want to have. And there was one birthday, my grandparents came over for dinner on my birthday, and we had spaghetti bolognese. And watching my grandfather, who is a very, born and bred Shetlander, I don't think he ever went further afield than mainland Scotland. I don't even know if he got to mainland Scotland. I know he went to Orkney. I don't know if he even made it to mainland Scotland. He never went anywhere really in his life. And he was very much like your meat, potatoes and two veg type person. This was like really foreign food for him. And watching him trying to eat the spaghetti noodles was quite amusing. This lasagna I do not make anymore because it's rubbish. It was using the jars of sauce. I don't do that anymore. That is nasty lasagna. I got my mum's lasagna recipe, which uses the same bolognese sauce from here, and instead of using a bechamel sauce or a sauce out of a jar, it uses 2 eggs, 3 cups of, I use cottage cheese, half a cup of grated Parmesan cheese, parsley, salt and pepper, and then like sliced mozzarella. And you basically layer it. With this sort of recipe, you'd have cheese as your top layer. This has meat as a top layer, and it has like pasta, this sauce stuff, meat layered like that. That's a far better recipe. But we're definitely keeping that. So I have got a kedgeree recipe, and I have also got a couscous and smoked fish salad recipe. Both are good. They are being kept. Where's the other half of this recipe? Okay. This chili con carne. So the other chili recipe I had for the burritos stroke taco salad. It's a very simple recipe. It takes like no time at all to cook. It's good if you're whipping it up quickly. It takes like about as long as it takes to brown the beef. You can kind of throw it on, and it's basically cooked by the time you finish grating your cheese, chopping your tomato, and washing your lettuce. It's a really brilliant, quick and easy. This recipe is more of a, you put it on and leave it to simmer, because then it really gets the flavours out. And it's got your green peppers, it's got your a far more seasoning and flavour, and it's got like tins of chopped tomatoes, which the other recipe doesn't have. And this is basically it was my ex-husband's aunt made this for us once, and I was like, oh my goodness, I didn't like chilli growing up as a child. I loved this. It's so full of flavour. I think it's the cumin. The cumin really kind of adds nicely to the flavour. It was delicious. I have it with rice. Wonderful. So we're keeping that. This recipe, stuffed chicken breasts, it uses Boursin cheese. And then you've got your chicken breast Parma ham wrapped around the outside. I have not made this in a very long time. Am I likely likely to make it again. Got a cat here making noises. That could be a nice recipe for having people around for dinner. Because I do remember that being tasty, because I do like burrs on cheese. It's basically like a posh chicken Kiev type thing. Chicken tarragon burgers, however, I'm not going to make those again. It's just not happening. Yeah, I ain't going to make that again. Even on this one here, I'm not sure. Because it's using like Parma ham and this Parmesan, it's really expensive ingredients. And I'm not in that place in my life anymore. I'm more after cheap and cheerful, feeding as many people as possible. Yeah, no, we're not gonna. So just this recipe that we want to keep. 20 minute chicken parmesan. Oh, I think the cat's just gone into the bedroom where the baby is. She's come back out again, we're fine. This was actually pretty good, but I think I have got I think there's a similar recipe in another cookbook, but we'll keep a hold of that for now. Jello salad. This is my mum's recipe. We're keeping this. To be honest, I'm never very good at making it, but I do love Jello salad. Tomato salad stroke salsa. I'm never going to make that. If people want salsa, they can just have it out of a jar. Vegetarian white bean chili. So I've got the ingredients for this, and I'm going to make it and see if it's any good. I seem to remember I used to eat it quite a lot back when me and my first husband were together. I need to make cornbread again. I'm going to give it a try and see if I like it or not. Ratatouille. Nope, I don't like aubergine. I'm not making that again. That was a give it a try and see. My mother's pumpkin pie recipe, which is like over 2 pages. This is one example of where an A4 would be better because it could all fit on one page. That needs to be rewritten to where it's like 2 pages like this, rather than, so I don't have a turn a page. Apple strudel. I feel that there will be this sort of a recipe in one of my cookbooks. It's not something I would make frequently. I have like an apple and raspberry crumble that I found online. I don't know, we'll put that in the to be decided pile. Jam tarts. This is another one where I made it at school. It makes 9 jam tarts. Like, who's going to waste your time? 3 tablespoons of white plain flour. Like, no. That is a recipe that was made, that was, like, for making at school, to make a small, tiny portion of something. I'm never going to make such a tiny portion of something, and so it's daft to try and size that up. Empire biscuits. Again, that's a school recipe that I have never made since home economics at school. Pancakes. I didn't actually realise I had this in here. We've made pancakes since and didn't realise that was in here. So this is another thing. So the pancakes is under the baking, and I've also put my mum's pizza recipe under the baking. But that's because at the time it seemed like a logical place to put it. But now it isn't a logical place for me, because when I actually look for a pizza recipe, I wouldn't think to look under baking. I would be looking under like vegetables, maybe somewhere like that. Although this probably has like pepperoni and stuff. Yeah, it's one of the tough ones to know where to put it. I have never actually made this, I don't think, but my mum's pizza is really delicious. But I don't think I've actually made it yet, so I should probably make it sometime. That's a keep. And then this here is the desserts indexed page. I never used it, so I'm just going to Tipp-Ex out that at the top and reuse the page, because the page is fine. And these are all of the blank pages that I have never used. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite everything neatly again, and I should have enough pages to rewrite everything and still have plenty of pages spare. If I run out of pages, I will just use A4 paper, just cut in half and just write it out or something. But I have paper. We're going to quickly go through these. So these are like recipe cards from all of the HelloFresh boxes and the Gusto recipe boxes that I got in the past. Okay, I'm back again. This video keeps getting interrupted, so I'm probably going to finish sorting through the recipes today and maybe do the actually writing out the recipes neatly to sort of put everything back in the recipe book neatly another day. But we're going to finish going through these cards. So, a Mexican spiced halloumi. I don't think I'm going to make this again, so that can go. This is 10-minute spaghetti bolognese. I do remember this was actually quite nice, if I remember rightly. I mean, I already have a spaghetti bolognese I really like. This is like, but you really want to let it sit and simmer for a while. This is like a much quicker and easier one. It does have, it's got different flavours to it. I think I'll keep it, though, just for variety. Hoisin pork burger and black sesame chips. Now this was actually really quite nice. Would I be likely to make it again? I think I might. I'm going to keep that, 'cause that was actually really, really tasty. 10-minute creamy chicken and mushroom fricassee. Definitely keeping that one. That was really nice. Mozzarella and red pesto chicken roast courgette. Yes, I'm keeping this. This was good. That was really tasty. But I mean, this is an example of something where rather than having one recipe for like the chicken, another recipe for like the courgettes, another way of cooking the potatoes, I like this sort of thing where it's sort of a one pan, one dish type recipe where you get your whole meal in one thing. That's kind of more what I'm about than something, making a separate recipe for a side or a separate recipe for the meat and everything. Chorizo and lemon, linguine with rocket. Yes, that was good. I will happily make that again. I do quite tend to lean towards your kind of Italian type recipes. I do quite like those. Provincial crumbed fish with roast vegetables. Yeah, we'll keep that. I'm a big fan of courgettes. I just think they're tasty. Southern Thai chicken Panang curry. So I've got 2 Panang curry recipes. Let's go turmeric, peanut butter, red curry paste, a red pepper, solid coconut cream, fried onions. This might be harder, so this was easy to make when they gave you all the ingredients. It might be harder to make like dried kaffir lime leaves and these like fried onions. It was like crispy ones, and the solid coconut cream. That's kind of maybe difficult to remake. I'll put it in the maybe pile. Macaroni cheese with cauliflower and broccoli. A definite. Great comfort food. I'm all about my comfort food. Indian fish and rice stew. We're going to keep that because that sounds yummy. So I actually went and fetched my Abel and Cole recipe book. So I used to get Abel and Cole fruit and veg boxes when I lived down in England. I can't get them anymore, but I still want to eat fruit and veg. I'm going to double check if these recipes, I have got the Abel and Cole Veg Box Companion Cookbook. If these recipes are in here, then I don't need to keep the recipe card. So let's have a check. I'm assuming there's an index in here. There is. So we want to look under parsnip. Parsnip. Oh, they don't have it as easy. That's more based on if you've got a item. Yeah, it's not the best laid out. Winter? Is it under winter? There doesn't seem to be an easy way of checking in here for that recipe. Right, we've got baking. Do we have cinnamon? Citrus. Breakfast cookies, courgette cakes. Parsnips. Right, so parsnips, we've got page 37. We're just going to have to do this the hard way. 57. Nope. Where are we at? 73. This is all reference of parsnips. Nope. Where were we here? 84 to 85. Nope. 90 to 92. Oh, too far. Let's move her. No. 95. That's actually a really nice recipe, but that's not what I'm after. 219. I don't think this recipe is in this book. But we're just making sure. Nope. 222. Nope. Okay, So we'll keep this cinnamon parsnip cakes, that sounds good. Also virtuous carrot muffins. Let's go to... It's not under muffin. Is it under carrot? I don't think it is. So we're going to keep that. Pear and cocoa muffins. I don't think it is, so we're going to keep that recipe. Honey pear flapjacks. Keep that. Spoken neeps and tatties hash. Now I think that is in here. I'm pretty sure we just found that, didn't we? Was that not? I'm sure we saw that not too long ago. So I can't find it. Let's try page 95. Yeah. Smoking neeps and tatties hash. Yeah. So I already have that recipe in here, so I don't need to keep that one. I don't do anything on the back that's of value keeping. I thought that there was other ones, but yeah, so we've got a couple: pear, a carrot and a parsnip baking recipes. So beef chow mein, I remember that was quite tasty. My throat's been all funny again. Pork steaks, oh these were good. Yeah, I remember that being really tasty. This chicken panang I remember being really good. Sugar snap peas, I didn't know if I liked them, but I did. Coconut milk I can easily get. The Thai garnish, I don't know what was in the Thai garnish, but Panang curry paste I can easily get. And so I think I'll keep this Panang chicken recipe because I know I can more easily recreate it. And this one, because I don't think I can easily get things like the solid coconut cream and these like fried onions and kaffir leaves, I'll let this one go. This one, I remember the pork being quite nice, but actually I don't know if I was taken with the butternut squash. I think the main difference I would do is if I made it, I wouldn't keep the skin on the squash because the recipe says to keep the skin on the squash, and I didn't really like the skin being on the squash. Gnocchi bolognese, I will keep this. Yes, I will keep that. Steak with sweet potato bravas. So my husband is the one who makes steak, and he makes amazing steak, and when he makes steak he has it with like chips and mushrooms and onions, and we're not gonna, if it's not made broken, don't fix it, so we're gonna get rid of that recipe. But I'll keep the speedy beef stroganoff. Chicken stuffed with mozzarella and chorizo. See, this is something I'm more likely to do. I'll keep this recipe, I'll get rid of the the other recipe that had the Parma ham and boursin cheese. Sausage, pea and potato casserole. Simple, easy. Rosemary, beetroot, parcels. This is a good recipe. Let's again check the Able & Co. This is from Able & Co. We will once again check Able & Co. For beetroot. Beetroot. 191. $175. $138. $118 to $121. Okay, it's not in there, but yeah, I do like this. I've made this before, and it is a really nice way of having beetroot. And yummy sprouts. This is my friend's recipe. It's simple. It's bacon and sprouts. I like those. Broccoli nut noodles. This is a really nice recipe. Again, from Able & Co. Let's just double check and see if it's in here. So this doesn't have so many actual recipes, as it really talks you through different ways, like things to do with your vegetables, different ways of cooking them, and it kind of leaves it more open-ended. Yeah, no, I don't think it's in there. So I'm going to keep that because that was quite nice. Stir fry. Easy pancetta, mushroom and pesto pizza. Yeah, I think we're going to keep that. Yeah. Speedy sausage rigatoni. Yeah. Now this is a recipe card from rosemary roasted chicken and potatoes. So it came with some portions of herbs and spices. It has a recipe. You can then just make it yourself using and I do remember that was nice. Gorgeous little cakes. This is cakes made out of gourds, so pumpkins and squash and that kind of thing. I'm keeping these like vegetable based cakes because when my child gets old enough, we'll start doing baking together, and it's a good way of getting like vegetables into your child. Oh my gosh, I seem to remember this was really, really good. Yeah, I loved this. It was really good. This one I don't remember so much. I'll keep a hold of it because lamb tagliatelle with courgette. Yeah, we'll keep a hold of that one. And this was from Ocado, I think. Yeah. And it's baked spaghetti and breaded chicken. We're going to keep that again. It's kind of Italian type. Chicken tostadas with slaw and chipotle yogurt. Coleslaw mix. Red wine vinegar, chipotle paste, natural yogurt, whole wheat soft tortillas, and easy garlic. Yeah, I think I can make those again. 5 spice chicken stir fry. Yep. And veggie coconut Caribbean soup. I don't actually remember this at all. remember this at all. It's got sweet potato, red pepper, kidney beans. There's not much in that, like, to give it substance. I don't know. I'll keep a hold of it and we can always give it a try. So that's me finished sorting through my recipes. My next step will be to put them into my recipe binder and write out recipes and all that kind of stuff. I will save that for later because that's baby just woken up again. That's perfect timing. But yeah, I hope you find this interesting or soothing or boring and puts you to sleep. That's a great thing about ASMR, is I can be really boring and it's still an effective video. Anyway, you guys take care and I'll see you again in a video soon.